What is up everyone, my name's Al from Rtype, and today we've got a brand new Shindougo collection. This time, it's not Castlevania, which by the way was an incredible collection, albeit some minor things that we'd love to see happen in the future, aka proficiencies if that makes sense, to kind of optimise, that's the word I'm looking for, optimisation in some of the emulation. But this time, we're taking a look at an Rtype collection, so it's going to be a massive collection, one-stop shop for Rtype on the Dreamcast. Is this one any good? Let's take a deep dive now and take a look. So this is it. This is bringing up another Shindougo collection. This time, like I said, is the Rtype collection. I really love the fact these collections are being put together. I think this shows passion, and it's great to see all the different variations of different versions of the same game, as well as having loads and loads of fan bonuses and extras. Now the first thing we're looking at is the fact it does have the guides here. It comes under pictures, but it does give you a guide and tutorial on how to use each emulator, because some of them aren't that easy to use, some of them are. You know, it's just common sense for some of them they really aren't. Like the Amstrad one can get a bit confusing, to be fair, but once you get into it, get the hang of it, yes, it makes sense, but it's great to have these guides here as well. Next up, a nice favourite that I've not seen in a collection yet, well I'm pretty sure not anyway, is music. Now this has quite a few EPs and albums all mixed in here, which to me is unbelievable because we don't necessarily even think to even listen to these, but you can right here. And another of my favourites is under the movie section, where we get a load of different things like trailers and things like that. And for me, I love, a lot of the time I'll even go to YouTube and just watch old gaming type ads. Here's one now.
Rtype セガからいよいよ発売。8シーンすべてを1本に搭載。これが話題の4メガシューティングゲーム。セガ Rtype.
Anyway, let's crack on and actually take a look at how some of these games play. Like I said, there's tons of different versions here. Atari ST, Game Boy, Amstrad, PS1. Pretty much any version of Rtype you can think of on the, let's quote-unquote call retro consoles, they are all here. We're going to take a look at some of them, not all of them, because obviously they all play very, very differently to be fair, but it's nice to see this range. First of all, we'll have a look at Amiga. We know Amiga does actually, the emulation for Amiga is pretty good when it's running. Initially when it boots up it does feel a little bit slow, but then it does speed up. Now what you're seeing here is the Amiga version of Rtype working on the Sega Dreamcast. You probably never thought you'd hear anyone say that, but yes, that is actually happening here, and it runs pretty damn well. There is a little bit of screen tear, I can't deny, and obviously the aspect ratio will depend on your setup, your capture. Obviously it's in 16:9 here. It's just my capture, that's the way I've done it. But yes, you could also see it in 4:3, etc. So the option's there, and it works pretty damn well. On to Amstrad, which I obviously grew up with. Amstrad was the first system I ever had. Still love. Obviously, I don't have the thing anymore, unfortunately, because my dad threw it away when I was younger. But hey, let's not get into counselling right now. Let's take a look at Amstrad version of Rtype. Now, for me, Amstrad emulation is a bit hit or miss with the Dreamcast. It's not been optimised to what we want, really. It's getting better, but for me, it's the visuals with the Amstrad. They really are different to any other system. I guess you could say it looks a little bit Spectrum, but to me, it has its own identity. And I really wanted to play Rtype on the Amstrad, and you can obviously do that here with this collection. Now, the thing I've noticed is there is no music. Now, I can't actually remember if there is music in the Amstrad version, so I could be wrong anyway, but it feels like it's missing some sound effects. It just, like I said, the emulation isn't 100% with this, and it kind of shows, unfortunately, which is a shame, because this is the version that I was kind of most looking forward to, just because we don't see the home computer systems on the Dreamcast all that much yet. I feel they're coming, but they're just not 100% at the moment. Next up, we've got some of the surprise games. Now, these are games that are generally only Japanese releases, and they kind of feel like spiritual successors or games that were kind of influenced by games like R-Type. So that's the great thing about these collections, is they always have games that are kind of inspired by or kind of similar to, and it's great to see because this is another IREM title anyway. As you can see, Squoon we'll call it. Is it Squoon or Scoon? I actually really liked playing this because I didn't expect to see it. And the fact that you get all of these extras thrown into this collection, a collection that is already free anyway, this is great. And, you know, NES emulation is really, really good on the Dreamcast anyway. Sounds great, controls great, you know, there's no screen tear, there's no stutter, it just works. And this was just great, like I said, to see in a collection like this because, again, wasn't expected, but still sticks to the same genre, which is great. I love it. So on to the infamous PS1s. Now, yes, it is bleeming, as you'd expect. That's how we do PS1 games on the Dreamcast, well, certainly at the moment. And this time we're taking a look at R-Type Delta. Now, yes, visually, I actually think it looks pretty good for a bleem. Some of the bleems we know are pretty much damn unplayable. FMVs don't usually work, which you obviously saw they didn't really then, but in-game here actually looks quite good and actually sounds quite good. Now, obviously, I've not actually played it on the PS1 before, so I can't compare to that extent, but I actually think it plays pretty damn well. There's not much stuttering. And for me, that's the big issue we have a lot of the time with these bleems, is there's a lot of stuttering, there's missing textures. But look in game, I actually think this looks great. I kind of think, is this how it's meant to look? I mean, if you've seen a review or the bleem of G Darius on the channel here, you're going to know that that plays or looks pretty damn similar to this. And that very much same in the sense that it just works. Yes, the sound does get a little bit crackly from time to time, or it kind of, you know, loops a bit of the sound, but apart from that, this is a great bleem. Now, obviously, it doesn't save because the VMU doesn't work with bleem, or certainly not at the moment, and, you know, that's a shame, but that doesn't really matter. You're not really, you know, playing this to save your progress. You just want to have a nice little blast on a game like R-Type, which, let's face it, they're arcade games anyway, essentially, so you're probably not going to be saving your progress. You're going to play it for about an hour, continue, love it. Anyway, let's take a look at PC Engine, which, to be fair, PC Engine emulation is actually pretty good on the Dreamcast. This is the emulator we've seen before, but kind of just with those 3 games ROM set on the Dreamcast. Now, yes, again, a small bit of screen tear, if you didn't notice there, which is a shame, but the actual game works pretty damn well. I mean, the music is great, the controls are great, there's no stuttering in the sense of nothing that you'd notice which would actually make the gameplay any worse. It all just works quite well, and like I said, the sound for me is where this one really shines. I love seeing PC Engine on the Dreamcast. To be fair, I've never owned a PC Engine, as a lot of people never have, but it's great to see that catalogue, or this, included into the R-Type catalogue in this collection. And it's great to see more PC Engine titles come to the system, just because, like I said, we didn't really get to play them all that much, certainly in the UK anyway. Now, yes, on to the Master System. You know, what do you expect with the Master System? It's going to work, and it's going to work well. I think I actually own this version physically. It's a really good version of R-Type. You can tell it's 8-bit, it's scaled back. It's not quite the arcade version, but if you didn't already know, obviously there is the arcade port of R-Type coming to the Mega Drive very, very soon. It's being worked on at the moment, so that'll be interesting to see. And maybe an updated release of this collection, maybe including that in the future. That would be nice to see. I'd like to see that, to be fair. You know, it makes me wonder if we'll see a collection, maybe just an arcades port collection, come with games like RoboCop, The Simpsons, which is also coming, which is absolutely looking fantastic, Final Fight, who knows, but yes, emulation of the Master System works pretty damn perfectly. One thing to note is it does also do load states. You can also change the settings. You know, with a lot of these emulators, there is a lot of different options you can do, so make sure to check them out. Now, last but no means least, we've got the Snes, aka the Super Nintendo. We're checking out Rtype 3 this time. We're going to mix it up slightly to see how well this plays. And yes, it's pretty good. I'm not going to lie, it is pretty good. It's not 100% in regards to optimized. It doesn't feel like Ian Micheal's version, for example, of the Cowabunga collection with the Super Nintendo games. It doesn't feel that perfect, if that makes sense. It just feels like, I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe it is that version, but I'm pretty sure the emulator used it isn't that version. But yes, it does play well. In fact, it plays so well that you probably wouldn't even notice any massive issues, to be fair. But for me, I think, I don't know, it feels like it's missing something, and I don't know quite what it is. It just feels like there is a little bit of slowdown here and there. Again, I could be wrong. The sound sounds pretty good to me. It doesn't really sound like it's got too many issues with the sound. There's not much crackling, which is great. Controls work very, very well, to be fair. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit harsh with this version. I don't know. Let me know. You know, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this collection as a whole. Like I said, I haven't checked out every single game in this collection because it's a big old collection. But that's obviously for you guys to do. Download it, because the download link is in the description box below. So as always, like, comment, and subscribe. It's Al signing out.